Every strikers, they'll deliver. Cloud walls erupted, you can feel the quake.
Isn't going to Saudi Pro League. Victor Osimhen says no to Al Hilal. Wow, what news! What news! Just scrolling through my feed and discovered I saw the news from both Fabrizio Romano and Pucilla, but like I said, he's very accurate when it comes to Victor Osimhen related news. And then as well, Fabrizio Romano said Victor Osimhen has rejected the move to Al Hilal and the Saudi Pro League, so he will be staying in Europe. So this opens up the door for clubs like Chelsea, Manchester United, maybe even Arsenal to have a look. But Galatasaray would be going forward with a bid to try to see if they can, sign him. In fact, I'll share this. I'll share my screen so we can look at the article, or not the article. Look at the news from Fabrizio Romano. So let's go. So you can see it there. So it's up here. Yes, it says breaking. Victor Osimhen has rejected Al Hilal proposal despite agreement club to club with Napoli, 75 million euros fee. Osimhen saying no to the Saudi Pro League club. Galatasaray will insist to sign him. Race now open again. So that's not race now open again. So let's see how that goes. So for me, Victor Osimhen, where does he go now? But you know what? It's a bit strange. Not a bit strange. I expected this to happen because one thing you have to know is London Blues. I'm very happy for Victor Osimhen. Yeah. So that's one thing with life. You see some people now are saying, "Oh, he's not going to Saudi. He's not going to Al Hilal in the Saudi Pro League." That means he's too greedy. The money in Saudi Pro League, he's saying is too low. No, he wants to remain in Europe. And that's the advice I've given to Victor Osimhen. I mean, on here, I don't know if he watches this video, this channel, but my thing is the narrative around African players is already the way it is. It's already the way it is. So if you go to Saudi Pro League as an African who is eligible to play for Africa, you're playing for an African country, the narrative around you would be really, really bad, and it would be difficult for you to come back and remain with the top flight European club. That's just the truth about the matter. So I think it's the right decision in terms of career-wise. I know Saudi Pro League are trying to, grow their league and increase the brand visibility of their league, which is a very, very good thing. 110%, I agree with that. But right now, for the here and now, Victor Osimhen has to remain in Europe, and he's chosen to do that too. Like London Blue says, Chelsea, please come get your boy Osimhen. Yeah, Victor Osimhen is a prototypical Chelsea striker. If you look at the strikers that have succeeded at Chelsea, your Didier Drogba's, your Diego Costa, he is in that mold. And a lot of people who are talking about Victor Osimhen, they don't know him. I have watched Victor Osimhen since he was on the 17, played on the 17 for Nigeria, Golden Eaglets, and then he moved from there to Wolfsburg. I knew when he struggled at Wolfsburg when he went there as a 17-year-old. I knew, when he went to Charleroi, that's when he started scoring lots of goals in Europe. And then he went to Lille, played Champions League football, scored a ton of goals for them. Every true Chelsea fan can also remember those fixtures in Lampard's era, when Victor Osimhen was a terror to Chelsea's defense. He went to Napoli, won a league title. And what people refuse to understand is the coach changed. And he went there, he played, he performed well, and then he left there, went to Galatasaray, won them their first league title in 5 years, alongside with the Turkish Cup, scoring tons and tons of goals. Victor Osimhen is someone that will press for you. He will press naturally. And he is a leader on the pitch. People say attitude issues. Victor Osimhen only really gets visibly upset when the team is losing. He's someone that will galvanize the team, and that is what Chelsea needs. You have all these 18-year-olds, 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds who are just fresh and raw. You need that sort of leadership. Now, the coach can say all he wants to say. He can do all the tactical things he wants to do. He can even speak to the players. But when you see a player doing it on the pitch, being a leader on the pitch, that can be a massive, massive difference. So for me, the question is, where will Victor Osimhen go? For me, right now, I would say Galatasaray are the favorites because though, as a Chelsea fan, I want him to go to Chelsea. Right now, their focus is on Bino Gittins. Their focus is on Hugo Ekitike. Their focus is on Mike Maignan. For me, you should have just go straight. You get your Victor Osimhen in the building because he is a walking 20 goal a season striker. And the other intangibles he brings. So Anthony Iwuchukwu says, please, Victor Osimhen, come to Chelsea. It is a club made for Chelsea. The way Chelsea play, they need Victor Osimhen. I know Liam Delap has been signed, which is good. He is a young player, good prospect. But is he ready to come right now and lead the team forward and be the leader in the team? Now, a lot of people are saying you have Cole Palmer, you have Romeo Lavia, you've got Liam Delap now. They are all part of that Manchester City, LI development squad. They all play together. They have chemistry. That's good. But you need someone who is ready to come right now and score goals and lead that team. And Victor Osimhen is that guy, in my opinion. I know some Manchester United may be interested, although we hear Manchester United have their focus in on Gyökeres and maybe you could keep Højlund or something. And there's also talk whether Manchester United could use Højlund plus cash in exchange for Victor Osimhen. Maybe that's something that they'll want to do. But even if you're talking about Højlund, the way Conte plays, he plays with one out-and-out striker, and Lukaku is his man. So I'm not quite sure how that would work, except Napoli want to offend Conte, or else Lukaku is his man. So that's the thing. Victor Osimhen is a striker tailor-made for Chelsea. He's tailor-made for Chelsea. Liverpool would have been a good place to go to, but the way Liverpool play, the way they set their game up, is all set up to favor Salah. Salah is the main man. It's all set up to favor him. If you sign a striker for Liverpool, you're going to get someone that's going to play like Bobby Firmino. Put that pressure and not really score that many goals. Maybe you scored 8 goals end of the season and you come up with maybe 10, 12 assists. This kind of thing. But Victor Osimhen is not that kind of a striker. He is a goal getter, a goal scorer. Very, very brave. We know what Victor Osimhen is all about. All the European clubs have no respect for African footballers. He deserved the asking price he wants. If he was South American or European, the world would have signed him a long time ago. That's George Okuoha. I agree with you to a large extent. I agree with you, George. I agree with you to a large extent. Because one thing about football that people don't get is, also people choose to ignore, is your talent, your ability gets you in the door. It makes people say, oh, this guy is good. He's a good player. But what gets you even to that superstar level where, you go to that major big club, what pushes you is the PR around you. Now, don't get me wrong, for instance, Liam Delap has talent. He is a talented player. But scoring 12 goals, how does that get you to scoring 12 goals for a relegated Ipswich side? How does that get you a move to a club like Chelsea that have qualified for the Champions League? In fact, there was a time when Liam Delap had the choice to pick either Manchester United or Chelsea. He had the choice. And this is a player that is in a team that just got relegated. So he had that sort of that luxury of choice to make. So that's one thing that I tell some Nigerian content creators and all that. Don't be all about trying to drag people down. Don't be all about bringing down players. It doesn't help. Look at what South Americans have done. Brazil, Argentina. They've laid the groundwork for themselves. For instance, look at Franco Mustano. He scored 7 goals and 4 assists in the Argentine league. He hasn't left that league. He scored 7 goals, 4 assists. So that's 11 goal contributions. And He's just made one appearance for the Argentine national team. But now he's attracted a 45 million euros transfer fee from Real Madrid. He attracted 45 million euros fee from Real Madrid. It's all about the narrative sometimes, all about the PR sometimes, and that's the thing. So Victor Osimhen should have been signed up a long time ago. People keep talking about attitude issues. What is the attitude? What is the attitude? So for me, this is huge, huge news. Clubs in Europe should sign Victor Osimhen. And people talk about his salary. They say, oh, salary is too expensive, it's too much. And some people don't even do their research. They just hop on it and say, oh yeah, Victor Osimhen's salary is too much. But I say, calm down. Victor Osimhen right now earns £10 million a year. Harry Kane earns £25 million a year. Lewandowski, £28 million a year. Haaland, 27. So no one says what they earn is too much, but for Victor Osimhen, oh, that must be too much. No, and I keep telling people, especially some Nigerian fans as well, is don't look at footballers' salary based on what you earn, because footballers' salary, footballers' wages is out of this world. It's mad money. It's crazy money. Even if you're earning £10,000 a week, that is mad money. So footballers earn mad money. So don't look at it and say, oh, maybe I earn 1,000 naira a month, so Victor Osimhen reduce your salary, reduce your wage demand. No. And usually what people forget is when usually you want to sign a striker, the striker gets not even a striker, a player in general, there's this increase. There must be some increase in the salary. But Victor Osimhen has not asked for an increase. He's asked for what he's currently earning at Napoli. So I don't get this whole thing, this whole argument, this whole noise people are making. If a player who scored 12 goals can be worth 30 million, 12 goals in his top flight football, can be worth 30 million, then how come someone who scored tons of goals at Napoli, who's currently scored 26 league goals, for Galatasaray, in addition to the other goals he scored, amounted to 47 goal contributions for the season, almost 50, 3 shy away from 50. So the weight thing for me is not an excuse. If he wants to reduce it, that's his personal prerogative with the club. But I don't see why that is a reason. I don't see it. So Anthony Iwuchukwu says, please, Victor, or should please reduce your salary only just for Chelsea. Later, they will increase it for you, please, but play for us first. Anthony, I share your plea. I share your plea. I feel you. Now, and then again, you could also talk about his agents. Sometimes you could say, okay, you want me to take 120, all right? That's fine. But the moment I score, yes, Yasim, I'm Superman, just joking. But the moment I score 15 goals, my salary jumps to £200,000 a week. You could add those clauses. Say, okay, you want me to reduce my salary? Okay, I'll reduce it initially. You want 100,000? You want 120? That's fine. But the moment I get 15 goals in the season, it jumps to 200,000. And that's the thing. I'll come to that. So this kind of clauses, you can include them. Or you can tell the club, okay, you want to pay me 150, pay me 150 and pay the taxes. Pay me 150 and then you pay the tax. You pay my income tax. You want to give me 150, pay me that 150, income tax, you pay that. You pay that. So Yasim says 2 live in one day. Yeah, I had to. Because for me, Victor Osimhen is Nigeria's biggest, one of Nigeria's best player at the minute. So I want him to come to Chelsea. I don't know if that's going to happen. So my thought was, is he going to go to Saudi? Is he going to go to Saudi Pro League? Because the money is mouth-watering. It's super tempting. 35 million euros a week. That is mad money that anyone should be tempted by. Not could, you should be tempted by 35 million euros a week. But he's turned it down and wants to remain in Europe. Now, Chelsea, I think this is your chance, this is your opportunity, because people don't know how good Victor Osimhen is, and that is the thing with Nigerian football, right? You don't have a lot of positive narratives around the players for one, and no one knows what is going on at the grassroots level. No one knows what's happening at the grassroots level. So George Okuwa says Osimhen is aware of the high taxes imposed on players in England. Yeah, that's true. That's super, super true. Super true. Super true. Super true. And then Hassim says, I want Lookman more than Gittins. 100%. 100%. See, Gittins is another young player. He's a young player. He's got high ceiling. He's got huge potential. He's got pace to running behind. But to my mind, what Chelsea should be looking for should be more experienced players that are ready to come in now and start scoring now. That's what I start delivering now, because we've gone 2 seasons without really competing for anything. Last season, you managed to win. This season I just passed, you managed to win the Conference League, and that's fine. But that shouldn't be the end all and be all. That shouldn't be the end all and be all. You've won the Conference League, you've gone to Champions League. That should spur you on to go and start. Do you look at what Liverpool are doing? They're reinforcing their team. So signing Gittins again, who is another youngster that will come in, and you say, oh, we must give him two more years to come good. He's a youngster, 2 more years. Same thing for the lap. We must give the lap 2 more years, 3 more years to come good. He's just 22. You can't expect him to hit his prime now. Whilst you're doing that, other people are going ahead of you. Other clubs are going ahead of you. Look at Liverpool. I mean, Manchester City. They've got Erling Haaland. They've got Mamouche. They're scoring goals right, left, and center. They've got Shirky. How Chelsea allowed Man City to just have his free run at Shirky is just it's just unbelievable to me, because that's a magical player that could have been, special, and it could have been someone to give Cole Palmer competition. And that guy is someone that has the key to unlock low blocks, because he has magical feet. But somehow Chelsea allowed him, Man City, to have a free run, and that's it. So, and that's one of the reasons I'll never forgive Pochettino. He was there right for the taking. Pochettino says his defensive work is not good enough. So Ademola Lookman is someone that can come in right now. If Chelsea signs him, come in right now and score goals. But I'll get to Ademola Lookman in a minute. But so Victor Osimhen is someone that any club he goes into right now will deliver. The fans will love him the first moment he steps on the pitch. And Liverpool put all sorts of crazy narratives around the player. And from what they say, they've not watched him play. They've never watched him play. If you watch Victor Osimhen play, what is the first thing you notice is high pressing. It's high energy, high octane way he presses. And then someone comes on some news or some podcast to say, oh, Victor Osimhen doesn't press. People just like to spread a lot of nonsense. So Victor Osimhen not going to the Saudi Pro League, will Chelsea take the opportunity? Manchester United are there waiting, with Liverpool. Think they need a striker? I just don't want to go to Liverpool, because I don't think the way Liverpool play really suits, an out-and-out number 9 striker. Their whole system is geared towards freeing likes of Mo Salah and then some other person out wide. So Ademola Lookman, it seems he won't be staying at rather there is the possibility that he could be staying at Atalanta, and this just makes my brain go crazy. No, you can't afford to make that mistake. You cannot afford to make that mistake. Victor Osimhen made that mistake. After falling out with Napoli, he should have left. He should have left after that season. He went on and signed that new contract that tied him to Napoli. He should have left at that moment. So Ademola Lookman, remember, he fell out with Gasperini, the former coach of Atalanta. So I'm saying, guy, don't stay. You're going into the last few months of your contract. Clubs who want to sign you, you move right now. That's the advice I'll give to Ademola Lookman. And Chelsea, I think, would be a prime spot for him. But the way it's going right now, it kind of feels like um, Chelsea have all their eggs in a getting size basket. So maybe Liverpool. I think he's a better fit for Liverpool because he can play that inverted left winger role very well, and he's got goals in him as well. I would want him at Chelsea, but it seems the attention of Lawrence Stewart and Paul Winstanley are all focused in on Gittins. So George Okowa has says, I miss Roman. If he was still running Chelsea, yeah, Osimhen would have been in Chelsea now. He would have signed Osimhen last season. He would have signed him last season. And now people like to say things without context. They say, oh, when under Roman, you signed a lot of experienced striker, it didn't come good. But calm down and look at the context. And they like to talk about Lukaku. Lukaku, it was not his ability to score goals that was the problem. It was that interview he gave that made Tuchel not really fancy him anymore, that made some players in the dressing room not really fancy him anymore, and that caused the whole chaos. They were no longer passing the ball to him. I remember that Crystal Palace match, he had only 9 touches. He would make runs into the box, he wouldn't get the pass. So the fact that he didn't work out wasn't because he wasn't a good goal scorer, it was because people changed focus. Tuchel changed focus. Rather than playing with an actual out and out number 9, he chose to go with Havertz. So when you look at the context, you understand it's not because you signed experienced striker that was the issue. The main issue was certain things happened contextually with those players. That's why it did not work. So that has nothing to do with whether the players experienced or not. So Victor Osimhen, where should he go? Because there's a World Cup qualifier coming, there's a World Cup coming, there's an AFCON coming. For me, I want Victor Osimhen to decide to remain in Europe. I hope, pray, wish somehow, Paul Winstanley and Feliciano and the rest of them, their brain opens up and their eyes indeed open up and decide to sign Victor Osimhen. So, Sim says, we need Mourinho, shut up and pay. Exactly, exactly. But I don't think these kind of owners, they like coaches like that. They like coaches that stay within the structure, that stay within, the hierarchy. Take orders from the owners, do what the owners say, and you'll be good. If you try to, if it seems like you're kind of stubborn or you want to insist on things, then you may be gone sooner than you expected. So, but for me, Victor Osimhen should come to Chelsea. But of course, he can't sign himself. The club has to make the decision, either sign him or not. Ademola Lookman as well. He's there. I just don't want him to remain at Atalanta. Don't make that mistake, Ademola Lookman. Do not make that mistake and stay at Atalanta. You have to leave. This is the time that you have the control. That's what some players forget. When your contract is coming towards its end, a couple of months left on it, that's when you have all the power. That's when you have all the power. I thought Osimhen just signed for a Saudi club. No. This is new news. There's something like that. New news just coming in that he is remaining in Europe and won't be signing with. I won't be signing with what do you call it now? I won't be signing with Al Hilal. So yeah, so it's by Fabrizio Romano. He's just said it that Victor Osimhen has decided to stay. So I'll share my screen again. I'll bring it up here so we can see it once again. I know I've shared it before, but that's here. So that's what he said. He said, breaking Victor Osimhen rejected Al Hilal's proposal despite agreement club to club with Napoli, 75 million euros fee. Osimhen says no to the Saudi Pro League club. Galatasaray will insist to sign him with race now open. So it's now open, free for every club in Europe. You can make your offer and see if you can get Victor Osimhen. And I think Chelsea should be leading that charge, but I don't know. I don't even think they're going to do anything. So let's see what happens. I don't want to put our hopes up. Yasin says, I don't want to put our hopes up, but some close friends of Osimhen are forcing him to, to go to Chelsea. Let's hope and pray. Yeah, a lot of people. You have your John Obi Mikel, Chelsea legend. You know, spoken to him who wants him to go to Chelsea. There are some other popular people in Nigeria that want him to go to Chelsea. But the thing is, they don't have the power to do anything about it. They don't have the power to sign him. The club has to make that decision. The sporting directors have to make that decision to sign him. But for me, he has everything it takes to be the Chelsea striker. Now, I've said about Liam Delap, he is a good striker. But he needs an experienced striker ahead of him. He needs an experienced striker that is ready to come in now, start scoring goals now, that he can learn off of. That he can learn off, he can learn how to, play at the top level, and you don't have that pressure on him. So you can come in 20 minutes to go, 25 minutes to go, in games in the Premier League. You can start League Cup games, start some FA Cup games, have minutes in Champions League games as well, while he grows, and then he can get integrated into the team later on. And then 2-3 years from now, Victor Osimhen, after maybe winning league titles with Chelsea, Champions League with Chelsea, he could be signed by Real Madrid. And then you have a striker that is ready to go immediately behind Victor Osimhen. So he is the striker that is meant to be at Chelsea. Now, there's a game Victor Osimhen played. He didn't score. But that is a game that shows you who Victor Osimhen is. It was the AFCON, the quarterfinal or semifinal, quarterfinal. AFCON quarterfinal, Nigeria versus Cameroon. If you watch that game, you see Victor Osimhen at his best. Not at his best, I won't say at his best, but because he didn't score, but you could see what he brings to the team, and that goes beyond just scoring goals. Victor Osimhen says Osimhen would fit well with us now, but they will not pay that much for him. Well, now that's the issue with all these clubs wanting Victor Osimhen to reduce his salary. Are they going to reduce salary for Benjamin Sesko? I don't think so. I don't think they're going to ask Benjamin Sesko to reduce his wage demands. You know what he brings to you. And this Victor Osimhen thing is a lesson to everybody that creates content in and around Nigerian sports, Nigerian football, Nigerian players, because a lot of people just have this mentality of let's drag this player, let's say some negative harsh things about this player, and that means that's the way we're going to get noticed. That's the way people will know who we are. But that's not good enough. People talk about buyout clause. Lamine Yamal, when he turns 18, will have €1 billion buyout clause. €1 billion buyout clause. So let that sink in for a minute. But no one is going to say that's the issue. Look at Florian Wirtz. Liverpool are offering 114. Last reports I heard is that Bayer Leverkusen have rejected that £114 million offer by Liverpool. And who knows, Liverpool can even go even higher. But nobody's going to say, oh, he's not worth it, he's greedy. No. Let's say the truth. Nobody is really worth 100 million, 80 million. Not really. If you're not curing cancer, if you're not, if you're not providing the sort of elixir that gives eternal youth, then you're not really worth 100 million. But that's the nature of football, and we should accept it. And if you're accepting that for everybody else, then you shouldn't be making that. Then you should also accept it for Victor Osimhen, given what he's done. He's not just some random, striker who scored 10 goals one year, scored 12 goals next year, and then asking for a big move. No, he's someone who's paid his dues. So, in my opinion, Victor Osimhen is a striker. He decided to stay in Europe. There are people who are still trying to make a mockery of it. So that's life. You never win. You can never win. If you had gone to Hilal, who would say, "Oh, he's greedy. Oh, he's all about the money." Now he's chosen to stay in Europe. People saying something different. So Esan Gonta says Osimhen will stay in Galatasaray. Let's see, because right now they are the only ones who are sort of putting in a bid for him. Because in terms of clubs in Europe, because it was Al Hilal and Galatasaray, they are the two clubs, and now he's rejected Al Hilal. He's just left with um, Galatasaray. So it's left for clubs in Europe to see if they can challenge Galatasaray. Let's see. If they can't, he probably will end up there. Because the way they welcomed him, the way they treated him so far while he was there, I think that can play on your mind as well as a player. It can play on your mind. But for me, as a Chelsea fan, I want to go to Chelsea, but they have to make the decision. Stop looking at all these kids that are not ready to come now and win. I think Gala wants to offer 30 million euros per year. Gonaiko Olushola says, I think Gala wants to offer 30 million euros per year. Yeah, if they offer that, probably he would go. And I'm not going to blame him because you cannot crawl and beg clubs to sign you, whatever their reasons are, whatever they want to talk about. They talk about attitude issues. What about Suarez, Luis Suarez? What were his attitude issues? Luis Suarez was biting people. Luis Suarez was biting people, yet no one says, oh, because you're biting people, we don't want to play with you. No. Luis Suarez was doing all sorts of things. But he was still signed by clubs. He was still retained by Liverpool. So I don't know what attitude issues talking about Victor Osimhen. And right now, to be fair, it's only Galatasaray right now in Europe that are pushing to sign him. And he already just had a very good season with them. He could go there again, score another 20 to 30 goals, in the season. And then that would even raise his stock even higher. Even higher. I'm tired of this English arrogance. They want the best for peanut. It's not even so much of the best for peanut that much. It's just that there's a way African players are looked at. That's the truth. There's a way African players are looked at, especially those who play for African countries. There's a way they're looked at because, for instance, look at Liam Delap. 12 goals, 30 million. I'm sure several players this season will make. Look at Cunha. Can you tell me that Cunha is better than Victor Osimhen? Cunha went for 62 million to Manchester United. He went to Manchester United for 62 million. So is he better than Victor Osimhen? No way. No way. Manchester United signed Højlund for 75 million euros. Is it 2 seasons ago? When he just scored 9 goals for Atalanta. So it's just the way that African players that play for African countries are looked at. So I just think they don't really want to pay that money. The whole narrative from the beginning, from the first time Chelsea were linked to him, just gave me a bad feeling. We were talking about, the release clause is too much. Usually, what happens with release clause is this. The existence of a release clause doesn't mean you must pay the release clause. That is not how it works. Now, if you want to pay the release clause and don't have to negotiate with the selling team, fine. If it's £100 million, you pay the £100 million, and then you negotiate with the player. But you can decide, okay, this is £100 million. How about we offer you, let's say, £65 million and then some add-ons? It doesn't happen. If you go to Spain, there are lots and lots of players that have £400 million buyout clause, 400 million euros buyout clause, €1 billion buyout clause. Does it mean if someone wants to sign them, the person must pay €1 billion? No. If a club wants to sign those players, they go, they negotiate and say, okay, this clause or this buyout clause is €1 billion, but okay, can we pay you 100 million, 120, 80 even? So the issue that people keep talking about this release clause like it's a problem, and now it's even reduced, talking about his salary like he's the first person to earn £10 million a year, it's just crazy. Look at what other players earn. Look what other players earn. And sometimes you have to look at the body of work of a player. So that is the thing. Well, he's not going to Saudi. Let's see where he does go. Ademola Lookman, you should not go to, you should not remain with Atalanta. Please, you shouldn't go to Atalanta. Ademola Lookman shouldn't remain there because Victor Osimhen suffered when he decided to remain with Napoli when he should have left. After that fantastic season he had, he should have left. Timing is everything. I think if he wanted to leave then, top club would have signed him. And because Napoli tied him to a prisoner contract, and now that's why he's had the struggle to move. So Ademola Lookman, do not go, do not remain with Atalanta. This is your opportunity. This is when you have the power, when you have a couple of months on your contract. That is when you have the power. By January, you can go and negotiate with other teams if they don't want to sell you. They don't want to tell you, you can do that. So Jelicoa says something tells me Osimhen might stay in Turkey. That's quite possible. It's impossible. Now I'll come back to the Victor Osimhen story, but for now I want to go on to a player that I thought should have gotten some game time at the Unity Cup. For whatever reason, he didn't get that game time. He didn't get that game time for whatever reason. Are you their parents? What is your business with them? Do you feel it? What I'm their parents? I don't know what you're talking about. Do I have to be their parents to care about them? Do I see my countrymen suffer and not give advice? I can only give advice. They can take it, they cannot take it, they can choose not to take it. I don't know what people are talking about. I can give my opinion. Every other person can give their opinion. You can give your opinion as well, Mr. Joe Philly. So I can give my opinion as well. Because I've seen what happened to Victor Osimhen. He signed that contract, when he should have left. He signed the contract, especially after he had fallen out with Napoli. He decided to renew the contract, and then they have become difficult. He should have joined Chelsea if not for Napoli. So we've seen something similar that's about to happen to Ademola Lookman. I should care for him and say it. So whether I'm their parents, I don't have to be their parents. I'm not saying I'm Lord of anything. I should be able to give my own opinion. So, Mr. Joe Philly, thanks for your opinion. Are you their parent? I'm not, but I'm a Nigerian like them, and I should be able to, give my 2 cents about things. You should be able to give your 2 cents about it. What is your own opinion? That's what we're doing. For me, I'm not going to digress, but I'm going to say this. If your opinion is other people shouldn't have opinion, then what's the point? That cannot be your opinion. Your opinion cannot be other people should not have opinion. That's just not right. It doesn't make sense. So because I watched Victor Osimhen when he fell out with the ownership of with Napoli after that racial advert that video they put out when he missed the penalty. And in my mind, I said, Victor Osimhen, please do not renew this contract. And then after a while, we just said, Victor Osimhen has renewed contract. I just said, no. They're going to make it difficult. Then true to form, everyone saw it, £100 million or thereabout release clause that people were skeptical to pay. And that's why I said the way African players are looked at is different. So £100 million from African player, are they really going to pay it? That was the issue. Jack Grealish had a £100 million buyer clause, and Manchester City paid it. No question, it's too much. No, they paid it. So the same thing, I don't want it to happen to Ademola Lookman, because right now, this is when he has the power. He can decide, I'll go to Arsenal, I'll go to Liverpool, I'll go to Chelsea, and now he's more attractive to buying clubs because it's less financial investment. Because when you have just a few months left on your contract, it's easier for teams to negotiate with your parent club, because your parent club will want to get some money in return. They want to get some money in return, and due to the fact that you have just a couple of months to stay, they don't want you to go on a free, then you become more attractive. The buying club can pay, a small transfer fee and pay you more, and pay you more wages. And then as well, if you decide to run out your contract, you can be signed as a free agent and you get huge bonuses when you're signed. So I don't want to see another African Footballer of the Year suffer because you signed a contract when you should have moved. That's my 2 cents about it. And then so before I go back to talk about the Victor Osimhen, you can keep your chats coming. What I want to say about Philip Otele, he's a player that I wanted to see at this Unity Cup that was played. I wanted to see Philip Otele because I knew the likes of Osimhen, the likes of Ademola Lookman would not be in that Unity Cup. So I was expecting to see, some players who are in good form for other clubs, those who are in good form but have never really played for Super Eagles, like Shola Ogundona, Ebenezer Kinsimiro and the likes, and Philip Otele was one of them as well. I wanted to see him, become to be part of that, to be given the opportunity to play, but he wasn't given the opportunity. And like Ahmed Musa, Ian Acho got the spots. And Ahmed Musa, after that, after the first match, left to go to his wedding, which is, but the main news I want to talk about here, he has been signed the option because he went on loan from Al Wada in Qatar, and then to Basel, to FC Basel, and there's an option to buy for 3 million euros. And the reports that we're getting is that the Swiss club have decided to take up that option. So they're going to pay that 3 million euros to Awada, and then he becomes an FC Basel player. And then that means he's back in Europe, and let's see what he can do if he would continue in a good form, because he had a very, very good record, at least a decent record for a winger for FC Basel. So that's good news. He's moved finally to FC Basel with the permanent transfer. That's good news. And then there's another striker that plays for Basel, discovered that he is Nigerian as well. He is Kevin Carlos Benjamin Omorui. So he's a striker, 24 years old, powerful, pacey, and has the powerful shot on him. So that's another one that we should be looking at, we should be watching out for, alongside the likes of Rafiu Durushimi. Rafiu Durushimi is another one, is another player that I was hoping that this Unity Cup, when you have this opportunity spaces in the team, those are the sort of players, that you should be looking at. So, excuse me. Jay Ambrose says, I'm glad Osimhen turned down the Saudi offer. He should wait as the transfer window is just starting. Some clubs can change their mind and make good offer. Saudi will always come when he is 30. Yeah, that's very, very possible. So for me, Victor Osimhen, there are two ways to look at it. First, there's lots and lots of money. That's 35 million euros. That is crazy. If they give me 25 million euros, say close down this channel, who knows? But so that's a tough decision to make, not to take that money and remain, in Europe, and hopefully he'll go to an European. He'll go to a club that wants to sign him. So, but Galatasaray, they're the most serious club right now. They're looking to sign him, and he wants to move to. And he may even like to stay there because the way they treated him. There was a day, one of the matches, he scored a goal, and I think his daughter called out his name. In Galatasaray, when you score a goal, the stadium announcer would, shout your name. So in a game, he scored a goal, and his daughter, in the stadium was given the opportunity to announce his name. So that's those kind of things. They're really showing that they care about him. At least they want him. Not that they care about him, they want him to be, to sign for them and be at their club. And advice I would give to Victor Osimhen: if indeed you're going to sign with Galatasaray, please tell them, before I sign, my release clause must be like something like 20 million pounds or 25 million pounds. Keep it there. So if you go again, you smash the goal scoring records again. Maybe this time around you get 45 goals to match your number at Galatasaray. You draw attention of clubs, and when they see buy a club 25 million pounds, that will be easy for clubs to pay. And then you can move. So that's fine. So that's my thoughts on Victor Osimhen if indeed he decides to go to Galatasaray. Other clubs are there, they're coming and make their offer. It's now free for everyone. The Saudi thing was the main thing, and because I think they are going to the Club World Cup as well, and I think the deadline to register players for that tournament is Tuesday. I think that's the deadline to register players. That's Tuesday. So right now you have only 2 days. After today, you have only one day in the middle. So possibly they will be considering other targets. And who knows? Maybe they go for Victor Boniface. Who knows? So they're looking at other targets. So Victor Osimhen remains at in Europe, and let's see where he goes to. Maybe Chelsea can have some sense and decide to sign him. Let's see how that shakes out. Ademola Lookman, for me, I think Liverpool will be a perfect fit for him because there's the talk about Diaz going to Barcelona. Who knows? But I think he's even more of a better fit for Liverpool than Diaz because he is a goal scoring winger. So you can imagine from a Liverpool standpoint, you have Salah doing what he's doing on that right hand side, and you then have Lookman doing what he does best on the left hand side: speed, pace, skill, cutting and shoot with his right, goals. Salah cutting and shoots with his right, goals. So David says transfer season is just opening. VO Victor Osimhen will likely leave Gala. I think he wants to leave. Napoli will insist on the 75 million release clause, which may make it difficult for Gala. Well, that's true. That could be possible. That could be indeed possible. That could be indeed possible because they would insist. That's for sure. That's one thing you have to know about this. De Laurentiis, the president of Napoli, he will insist on the last penny of any release clause he has in any contract. He will insist on it. But another thing again is the contract is very running down, so they have to consider that as well. So that's why I was saying those years ago, do not renew your contract because then there was no release clause and you could have just moved. Because once they add the release clause, it's not going to be for 5 million, it's going to be for a serious amount, as we've seen. That was 100 million, that was reduced to 725 million euros. That's around 60 something million pounds, and that's something that can be paid. Cunha was bought for 62 million. So that's something that can be paid. That's something that can be paid. George Okoa says, I'm surprised Osimhen turned down the Saudi deal. They are playing the Club World Cup. Yes, they are. So I think for me, that was one huge incentive because the Club World Cup is not like how it used to be, where it's every season. Now it is every 4 years. So if you miss out on this one, he's 26 now. So by the time the next one will come around, you'll be 30. So that's the thing with the Club World Cup right now. It's not as it used to be, where if there's one this year, whoever wins the Champions League the next year on the various continents will go on to represent their continent, in the Club World Cup. But now it's every 4 years, just like your World Cup or your Euros would be. So he's taking the decision. Let's see. Hopefully, it's not something he regrets. I hope he doesn't regret it. I hope a club actually comes and pays him what he's worth. So there are a lot of people who want to say he's greedy. I don't get it. I don't understand why you say that. I guess some people just feel like they can say anything they like and no one is going to really challenge them, especially if you're speaking about an African player. You have people who just say things and people just believe them. So people don't do their research. If you do your research, if you just Google, you will get to find out the salaries of players. And you know that Victor Osimhen doesn't earn that crazy money, at least in respect to what footballers earn. So I don't want Lookman as well. I think Liverpool will be a perfect move for him. I think Ademola Lookman, that Liverpool will suit him perfectly. So that's somewhere he can go and try. Chukwueze, there's talk of him leaving AC Milan. I don't know if that will happen now, but if he does leave, I think Fulham could be a perfect fit for him as well. Maybe Brentford, who knows, it could be another good fit for him as well. But let's give the chance coming. Let me know your total opinion on what you think about Victor Osimhen turning down that move to turn down that move to what's it called now? The move to Al Hilal. Now, if you want to join the chat, I will share the link to this video and I'll drop it. I'll drop it in the chat if you want to join. If you want to call in, you click on it and we can talk face to face. So I'll just put it in there. You can join if you want to join, and we can talk face to face. Know your thoughts and opinions on not just Victor Osimhen, not just Ademola Lookman, not just Philip Botele, but what sort of players do you want your team to sign? If there's any Nigerian related news you want to talk about, you can go ahead and talk about as well. And talk about transfer window. Chelsea, Mike Mignon seems he will be heading to Chelsea. With 85 million euros reportedly agreed between the clubs. And of course, they say personal terms will not be an issue. So, what is your take about on that? For me, I think Mike Mignon would be a perfect fit. Is what Chelsea needs right now. Is what Chelsea needs right now. For me, I know, of course, there's Mike Penders, the player I rate highly. I think he can, in future be a Chelsea number one. But right now, ready to go. I think Mike Mignon is what Chelsea needs, and definitely Robert Sanchez should be on his way. Robert Sanchez should be on his way out of Chelsea. The talk that West Ham want him, he should go there. If indeed, if indeed he wants to play for West Ham, that's where he should go. Because he's had a bad season. He's had bad seasons at Chelsea. He's had his moments where he's made some nice saves where you wonder, how did he do this? How did he do that? But overall, he's been poor. He's been really poor for Chelsea. For me, the two key areas, the striker position, and the goalkeeping position at Chelsea, for me, those are the two key areas. And I think, Clear Capital haven't done enough to sort of fill the gaps in those areas. So now they're looking at they're going to sign what's his face, Mike Mignon. I think that's a good one. I know people have judged him based on the game versus Spain. I think that's a bit too harsh. I know he considered 4 goals, which is crazy to consider one game. Because there are 5 goals rather, which is crazy to consider one game. And don't forget, the Spanish goalkeeper considered 5. So I think it was one of those games where defending wasn't really on the cards. Defending wasn't really the main thing in the hearts of the players. So Mike Mignon to Chelsea, what do you think? Is it something that you want to, is it a player you want to see at Chelsea? You're comfortable with him at Chelsea? Private fans, are you feeling threatened? How are you feeling about Mike Mignon at Chelsea? Do you think Chelsea have finally solved the striking issue? Do you think they have solved it? For me, the goalkeeping issue, I think that kind of solves it if the deal finally pulls through. Liverpool fans, what do you think about Florian Wirtz getting, supposedly, Bayer Leverkusen rejecting Liverpool's offer for Florian Wirtz? That is a £114 million offer from Liverpool. There's certain reports that say they have rejected it. What do you think about that? If that is the case, should Liverpool still go on and make a higher offer, make a higher bid? Or should they say, no, we're done here and move on to other targets? And if your advice is they should move on to other targets, if your opinion is they should move on to other targets, then which other targets should they move on to? So now, back to Victor Osimhen. Nice is remaining in Europe, but which club do you think would be the best for him? I'm a Chelsea fan. I'm biased. I wanted to come to Chelsea because I know what he brings to the team. His leadership, his pressing, his goals, his on and off the ball contributions to the team, his leadership in the dressing room, on the pitch. That's something you can't buy. You can't quantify how much that's worth. So, what you take of Victor Osimhen staying? Would you take him at your club? You're a Manchester United fan, I am an Arsenal fan. Would you want him at your club? For me, I want him at Chelsea 100%. Let's see how that goes, how that shakes out. And then Bino Gittins. Are you happy with Chelsea's link to Bino Gittins? Because they've had the 35 million euros bid rejected, by Dortmund, and they're looking to make further bids to see if they can convince Dortmund to let him go. And there's talk of Bino Gittins being open or wanting rather to come to Chelsea. So Oluwa Bemiga Adeyemo says, please, Victor Osimhen avoid Saudi for now. Challenge for Ballon d'Or, or you are African hope, please. Well, that's a good sentiment. I think he can compete for Ballon d'Or definitely, but then the question is, which clubs are coming for him. Now, the thing with Galatasaray is a good club, it's a big club, it's a historic club. DJ Drogba played for them, other top strikers have played for them. But the thing is, with respect to winning a Ballon d'Or, if you score 50, 60 goals in the Turkish league and someone scores 35 goals in the Spanish league or the English league, in the English Premier League, I don't think your 40 or your 50, 60 goals will be valued as much, except you go on and you do so well in the Champions League and your performance will just simply outstanding in the Champions League, especially if you're able somehow, some way, to win the Champions League. So that will be the only drawback, because I think right now Galatasaray are the only club that seem to have concrete interest right now. Have concrete visible interest right now to see if they can sign him, especially since Al Hilal, since Victor Osimhen rejected the offer or proposal of Al Hilal. So that's it now. You just Galatasaray with Chelsea now coming and be in the mix, with Manchester United coming and be in the mix, with Arsenal, jump in on this and be in the mix, or would you have maybe a Barcelona coming in, so they could say, okay, we're bringing you in because we want to drop Lewandowski. But even if a Barcelona comes in, for me, you should be wary of that, except they guarantee you in your contract that you're coming to play ahead of Lewandowski, because Lewandowski is Hansi Flick's sort of choice of striker, and who knows if he's indeed ready to allow any other striker take his spot. So that's another option. You could go there. Atletico Madrid would be a very good place for Victor Osimhen as a player on the counter attack. He can really run teams ragged for sure. 100% for sure. That could be a good move for him. Can you imagine if the Nigerian league was actually sound? But there's no need to go there right now. So I think Victor Osimhen choosing to stay in Europe is a good thing for his career overall, because, like I said previously on this video and other videos, the narrative around Nigerian players, the narrative around African players that choose to play for African countries is not so good. And then when you then go to a league like Saudi, they allow you to come back to top flight. You can come back and play for a team who is 7th or 8th or 10th, in the Premier League. But with the narrative, make it easy for you to come back and play for a top, allied club. I don't think so. I just think that will just make things a lot more difficult for you. So that's my thoughts on that one. Ademola Lookman, where do you think he should go? For me, I think Liverpool would be a good fit. I want him at Chelsea over Bino Gittins, because Bino Gittins is another young player, raw player that you're still hoping and praying comes good. I think he will be cheaper just on transfer fee than Bino Gittins, because I think he just had, not too long left on his contract. This is getting into the last year remaining on his contract. And I said, don't renew that contract, my brother, if you don't want to stay at Atalanta, because you're going to have a mad release clause in that contract. That is for sure. You're going to have a mad release clause in that contract. So you have to be careful. It happened to Victor Osimhen. I don't want it to happen to Ademola Lookman. So you have to be careful about that. Liverpool could still go for Osimhen. They need a striker. They have Diaz up for sale. They are the only EPL club that can still sign him. Yeah, in terms of the thing with Liverpool is, in terms of having the resources, they can still sign him. And that is, I think, if they're able to sign Vitz, because the amount they're offering for Vitz is a lot. That's 114 million. If Bayern Leverkusen have rejected it, then that means if they want to still go in, probably they go for 116 up to 120. And if they do that, that's like their entire transfer budget gone. Because don't forget, they've got Frimpong. Don't forget, they've got Kekesh. They're looking to sign Kekesh. I think his national team have given permission to leave the camp and negotiate with Liverpool. So they've got Frimpong already. They're going to sign Kekesh from Bournemouth. And then they're looking to sign Florian Wirtz. And I think Florian Wirtz is their main target this season, this transfer window. So if they get Wirtz, then that makes it a whole lot difficult for them to sign another striker. And my hesitation about Victor Osimhen going to Liverpool is this: the way they play, They usually don't play to the strength of a number nine. The way they play is all focused on getting the best out of their best player, which is Mohamed Salah, which is the right thing to do. You play to the strength of your best player. Now, with Victor Osimhen go there and you then have everything played, for the benefit of a number nine, if they can do that, that's fine. What I don't want to happen is for Liverpool to reduce, Victor Osimhen to a pressing machine, just like Fabrizio, just like Firmino was. Press, 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 win the ball back. He scored maybe 5, 6 goals in the league, come with assists, but you're doing a lot of pressing. I don't want Victor Osimhen to just become another guy that presses. He's someone that can really score tons and tons of goals. I just want him to go somewhere he can really thrive and shine, where he can compete for top honors, compete for top titles. I wish he was Chelsea, but as it is now, like we said, it could be Liverpool. It could be Liverpool. It could be Arsenal. It could be Manchester United even. Although Manchester United, it feels like their eyes are more set on Gyökeres instead. That's what it feels like. It feels like their eyes are more set on Gyökeres instead of Victor Osimhen. This is something. So it seems that their eyes are more set on the Gyökeres than the Victor Osimhen. So that's something. So that's how it feels like. So their eyes more set on a Gyökeres as Manchester United because they wanted to sign Liam Delap, but that didn't work out because they didn't qualify for Champions League. And Ruben Amorim has worked with Gyökeres previously when he was at Sporting Lisbon. So possibly he'll be looking to use that sort of connection to bring Gyökeres to his team. So if that's done, then the clubs that Victor Osimhen can go to begin to narrow down a lot, a fair bit. So good news. I say the good news, but at least it's positive news. I'm still holding on to hope that maybe he joins Chelsea. Let's see if that happens. The likes of Mr. P and Mikel Lubi keep saying they want him at Chelsea. Let's see if that happens. If the power itself remains in the hand of the club to decide who they want to sign, if they're going to sign Osimhen. Ademola Lookman, I hope he moves out of Atalanta and then progresses his career that way. And then as well, Otele, congratulations for securing that permanent move to Basel. And then there's also Kevin Omori. Nice to have found that player. He is another powerful, pacey player, but he is a dual national that Nigeria would have to compete for his allegiance with Spain. Let's see how that happens. Now, Samuel Morigion has been missed out. I think the way he's going right now, his whole head is focused that he's going to be a Spanish international. So I think that's someone we can say goodbye to. But the likes of this Kevin is still open. The likes of some other kid that we're talking about in later videos still open as well. So I want to really say a big thank you to everyone that's dropped their comments here, that's commented. I dropped the link on here for anyone who wants to really join the conversation, but it seems no one put that busy and no one has really clicked on that link. So not to worry. I hope some other time we'll have the opportunity to talk face to face on this channel. So at this point, I've come towards the end of this program or this video. I want to say thanks for watching. Thanks for your continued support. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel and do well to share this content to people you feel who love content such as this. So thanks.